Hello, everybody.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. As the coaster says, welcome back to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV and movie channel.
Mm-hmm.
How are y'all doing? How's Christmas?
Merry.
Merry. Good.
I've put on Tombstone.
Oh,
So
The movie?
these things happen.
Good.
There was cake and alcohol. And
that'll do it.
yeah. Thank you for pointing out how Man United did the other day. I was watching it, but thank you.
Were the cake and the rum all in one thing? Was it rum cake rum?
There was not rum cake rum, but if you remember, I had banana cake rum the other week,
That's right.
and it didn't taste of anything.
That's right.
It was shocking. I've still got a couple left actually. I haven't opened them all yet, so maybe we'll open one in a bit. But yeah, how about you, Sarah? How was Christmas?
Pretty good. Nothing super exciting. Just hanging out with the family, opening presents. You know, it's just a nice, homey thing.
Did you get any nice presents?
I got a new Apple Watch. I don't have it on right now because I still haven't set it up.
Nice.
You're getting some sidetrack presents next week, though. So I mean, that's much better, surely. If only I'd have thought about it 2 weeks ago, you could have opened it for Christmas.
Probably.
So, never mind.
It'll be Canadian Christmas. They always have holidays at different times. We'll just call it something different.
Yeah. Canadians. What are you going to do?
It's still in session.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing it like over this weekend.
Yeah, I'm still doing Christmas till the 3rd, and then I'll shut it down. Well, what I'm going to try to do is drink and eat everything so that I can do dry January. So I'm going to have to be pretty drunk for the next couple of days. So I've got quite a lot left,
Yeah.
and full of chocolate. So, but I'm gonna crack on and get through it. That's my New Year's resolution, is to get through all my alcohol and chocolate before New Year's Day.
Do you have a countdown to New Year's rum little thing? Advent calendar?
Oh no, shit! I got loads of rum. I might have to have a dry January, but not rum. I might have to have a rum exclusion because I've actually got about 4 bottles of rum. Because I've only really started drinking rum this year, and I've been telling everyone, "Oh my god, I like this rum, I like this rum." So everybody's bought me rum. So I got given 4 bottles of rum. So I'm like, oh bloody hell! So I might have to have yeah, just a dry, just not rum, basically. So fuck it, never mind. Shop letter. How you doing? Yeah.
Have you had a better rum yet? What was the best rum so far? It was the spice
Bumbu.
after that.
No, I had one last night that tasted like chocolate. It was nice, actually. It was a spiced rum, but it was almost coffee-like. But I don't like coffee, but it was still sweet. So yeah, it was good. It was good. While we remember, though, don't forget to go over and subscribe if you haven't already to the Techie on Pulse podcast. Mm-hmm. Hitting 300 subscribers in a week, so we're not doing too badly.
Not shabby.
So yeah, keep going. I won't be monetizing anytime soon, but
well, hopefully sooner than later. But we may have also just decided that Tuesday will be our end of the year stream that also looks forward to 2025. So y'all come see us for that. While you're at it, go watch some videos. You know, we got things to do, things that keep you entertained, all sci-fi. And then go back and watch some Stargate.
I think we focus on the sci-fi, but we allow ourselves to wander a little bit with that.
Rabbit.
Nosferatu.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, there's some cool stuff. But I think we also split it between what's coming this year and what are we, and then we'll have a little bit at the end where we sort of say what are we hoping, other than Stargate, is going to get sort of into production. Because there's a few things that are sort of in development that we want a bit more on, so like Highlander and God of War and things like that. We want them to really start moving on sort of things.
Legally Blonde.
Let's do a little bit of list of what we're most excited for to get out of development hell into actual production. That'd be good.
I did just say Legally Blonde jokingly, but legitimately, Legally Blonde needs to get out and done so we can get Stargate and RoboCop and all these other things.
Yes, because that's what's holding Stargate up. Legally Blonde. Oh, I've got some news on Stargate. Do you want it?
Let's
Sure.
jump. Let's do it.
I haven't confirmed it though, so it's not. We'll have to put it directly in rumor category. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to reiterate again. I've had this from one person. I don't know them great, and I'm trying to get somebody else to sort of tell me what's going on. So it's very much like rumor, awooga. That looked like I was grabbing boobs. Sorry, awooga. Boobs. Right. So
The rum is hit.
I'm on beer.
Ooh.
So we said we wanted Brad Wright back, but if we didn't get Brad Wright, Mark Fergus was okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So Mark Fergus and Hawk Ostby and Penguin and Parker pulled out of God of War. Ronald E. Moore went in. But Sony really went out of their way to say how much they loved the scripts and stuff and the work that Mark Fergus had done and blah, blah, blah. What this chap has told me that is completely unconfirmed is that actually Penguin and Parker asked to be removed from God of War because they have got a deal in principle to basically produce Stargate for Amazon in association with Sony, and it would be a similar deal if it gets finalized.
Yeah.
It would be a similar deal to like what Secret Hideout's got for Star Trek. So basically, Amazon will pay Penguin and Parker a fee. So with Star Trek, it's Paramount pay Secret Hideout a fee and tell them they basically then have to make Star Trek for them. All right. And then CBS Studios is the partner, and everything is filmed at CBS Studios. It would be a similar deal. So Penguin and Parker they would show run, they would be the production partner. It would be filmed at Sony, so it would be filmed out of Culver Studios.
Okay.
And Amazon will just pay them a fee, basically. They would basically, Penguin and Parker would be buying the license on a rental agreement, and I'm told that it's pretty much, well, this guy reckons anyway, but I need to get a bit more info on it really, but this guy reckons it's pretty much a done deal. It's far enough that Penguin and Parker asked to come out of God of War so that they could do Stargate. So let's see. So that it would be filmed at Culver City Studios. Yeah. So we'll see. Well, it's a developing story. It kind of makes sense what there's still that Sony connection. It's the people we would want to do it.
What it includes Hawk Ostby as well?
Yeah, it'd be Penguin and Parker,
Okay,
so it's Mark
cool.
Fergus, Hawk Ostby, and they've hired quite a big team to work on God of War. So apparently they've got it was pretty much just them, but now they've got like offices and actually a few people that work there. So it would be sort of the next step in that. But I mean, if it's anything like the Star Trek deal, Paramount paid Secret Hideout it was 250 million or something for the initial sort of agreement. Because normally it's the other way around. What a company would do is they would pay Amazon a fee, and then Amazon would and then they would produce buy the project off them, but then they can do whatever they want with it. What Paramount did was it's sort of the other way around, is to control, so they've still got an element of control sort of thing. But it looks like Amazon are going to do, if this is true, and I'm going to keep reiterating that, if this is true, a similar sort of deal where they would pay a fee, but then they would basically order so many shows. So it would be, right, you pay us this, but you've got to deliver this sort of thing. So yeah, I have to wait and see how that develops. It doesn't look like the Sony bigger deal is going to happen though.
Oh, really?
It sounds like, I think we said when we did it, I basically said what I was told at the time was they sort of had this smaller deal in mind where we're going to rent some studio space off you, do this, and then somebody sort of said, well, what about this, and suggested this big cooperation deal, multi-billion-dollar movie deal, And even the guy at the time said the chances are by the time they negotiate, we'll get something in between. And it looks like that's more likely what's going to happen. It'll be some sort of friendly relationship. And there'll be some movie deals and things. And some more boys stuff will be ordered and things. And then but they'll be, but they cooperate quite closely, Sony and Amazon already. So I think we'll just see that shored up a little bit more in the next 12 months or so, but it won't be the big like partnership deal that they were talking about at one point.
Is it safe for me to just go out of my seat yet, or should I wait a couple of days? Because Amazon, you have 2 days to make it a 2024 announcement. According to Jay, you got about 5 to make it a Christmas announcement. If you make it before January 3rd.
When I said it would be agreed around Christmas, I did say though that
could be after,
like in and around that area. What I was told was they want to make a decision around Christmas time, but don't expect anything to be. It won't get announced. Even if once they made a decision, we might hear whispers, but we won't hear it. It won't get announced
for a couple months.
All the dots are, I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and Amazon do everything. So I was thinking about this the other day. God of War we know about, but we only know about it because they've got a deal with, is it Workshop Games? So it's sort of been announced. Not God of War, Warhammer. Oh, God of War. God of War is the same actually, isn't it? Because they've got the deal with the is it Bethesda game? I forget now. Is it Bethesda? Anyway, whoever owns God of War. But then Warhammer as well. We know about the same thing. We're moaning that they haven't announced anything on Stargate for 3 years. Warhammer, they had a 2-year deal, development deal with Workshop Games. Then they had to extend it because they hadn't done anything with it. So they've had to extend the deal so that they can continue. And then now the development work has been like officially announced. It's gone into development. So that's been over 2 years. And God of War was announced that it was going into development 2.5 years ago. Amazon are the slowest moving company on the planet Earth. So we were that like, oh well, God, we're still waiting 3 years after Stargate. And I'm like, yeah. Everything they do takes forever. But anyway.
All jokes aside, one way or another, just give Chris Judge a job. You're just holding Chris Judge's jobs back at this point. You start getting God of War. Just give the man a job.
Yeah.
David B's got it right. I didn't say which Christmas.
That's true.
Christmas 2030. Hopefully not.
Knocking on wood.
It's like when Microsoft are releasing a new software thing, isn't it? It's going to be out by January. It's going to be out by August. It's going to be out by next summer. It's going to be out when we're bloody ready.
At least if the ball is rolling, that's good. That's good.
Very good.
So that's an exclusive rumor, but again, very, very rumor. It would kind of make sense about what we're hearing, but I'm not putting any confidence in that until I hear it from somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, after a couple other sources might say it, that be very, very.
Yeah, I want to at least hear. There's one person in particular that I trust on this sort of thing, and if he gives me a nod, then we'll give it a little bit more confidence. But until then, I think it's an interesting possibility. I think it, to be fair to me, I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's, other than Brad Wright coming back, which he still could as a consultant, but other than like, I think it's the perfect scenario for me. Not far off.
I agree.
Sony have worked on Stargate before. They kind of know what they're doing. If Penguin in a Park can bring in the right people, and well, this is the other thing is Amazon would they would pay the fee and then they would pretty much leave them to it, in theory. Which that is the big thing that we're hearing, is that Amazon is so, when it's their project, they're so fucking awkward that they just took all the joy of everything. So, but I have heard that things like the boys creators absolutely adore them, because they basically just give them a check once a year and leave them to it. So
and collect other checks. Didn't sound like a bad deal.
Yeah.
So we want that deal. We want the right person in charge, and we want Amazon to leave them alone.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
But yeah, so we'll wait and see. I heard this. So I only heard this in the last couple of days, and I'm still waiting. Like I say, I'm still waiting for responses. People aren't in work, lazy bastards. But
hey, there's never not enough work when it comes to Stargate. Just give us more.
The sci-fi quest has just mentioned. I think it's just mentioned Voltron. That's been in the works for over 2 years or 3 years. Voltron, and they've only just announced that it's that it's going into thing. The only reason we're getting anything on He-Man is because Netflix worked on it for 12 months before it's moved over to Amazon. They're the slowest moving company.
Yeah, the Voltron kind of cracks me up. It almost feels like they gave Henry Cavill a role in there just to ease him for the Warhammer stuff. Which, at the end of the day, just give us more Henry Cavill too, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be a busy boy next couple of years. Warhammer,
Asked him as James Bond. James Bond, Henry Cavill.
No, man. I don't want him as James Bond. He's too big.
Too much.
No, he's not right for James Bond. What we want is him in Highlander, and I want that to become a successful franchise, and then I want Warhammer to be his nerd project.
Yeah,
and I just cannot wait for the amount of Easter eggs and things that man will do. You know, that one of the reasons why Warhammer took so long is because his contract apparently is ridiculous. I've seen somebody that he said basically when he went into and agreed it, he said, "I'm not having another Witcher problem. I'm not having that's not happening again." And he has got so much creative control. He says, "I know somebody that's sort of like had a bit of a peruse." Or seen bits of the contract and went, yeah, he's not fucking about. he's got serious control on this. So
I don't know if he has the desire to do so, but he'd be a good showrunner just from the level of nerd he is. And it's not necessarily the same thing. And to use the reference, it doesn't necessarily compute, but the dude literally builds his own computers. He can have a goal in mind, set and like do something, you know. And if he knows each IP and the projects well and cares for them the way he tends to do, he would be a good showrunner down the road. I mean,
I think he is producing Warhammer, so he's one of the producers or executive producer. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I can't wait for Highlander. I cannot wait for Highlander. I can't. That's just going to be so good. I hope it's good. It's one of those movies. I don't like a reboot, but that's one of those movies you go, I'd reboot that.
It's just such a good concept. And the first movie, although it's so much fun, has potential to do and be so much more than it ended up being.
Yeah, exactly. So you just think, that could be so much better if it's done right.
Yeah,
and that's rare. You don't always get those. But yeah, and obviously what they did with the sequels, you're just like, oh, for the love of God. But it's so iconic. It just if it's done right, please do it right. But yeah, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's taken this long to get a reboot of it made. It's been due for it for a long time.
That's so weird. Okay, just to address a couple of the comments we've gotten since we've said it, are any of the new team previously working on Stargate? I'm assuming, of course, correct me if not, that it is probably far too early for that to even be on an agenda in general.
Right.
And at the moment, they're just trying to get the agreement in place. So it's about getting the agreement, getting the contracts. It'll be that sort of thing, and that'll take a while. Agreeing money, because obviously it's going to be a fee. So there's lots of like business stuff that would need to be agreed well before. But Mark Ferguson has basically been thinking about this for 3 years.
He's had time. Plenty of it.
Yeah.
Well, Joey was also making a good point a second ago. He said if it starts at Culver Studios, it could easily move to Vancouver. Incentives and costs for a long-going series. Same time zone, same coast, easy cast and crew transfers. And good point with a lot of the old cast is in that time zone too. Plenty of guest spots. It would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? I don't think we should focus too much on Vancouver. I know, like our emotion wants it to be in Vancouver, but does it really matter?
No.
And realistically, I am biased saying it, but LA is the easiest place just to get things filmed.
Yeah. And it depends what they make in the end. They might do a prequel or do something else, and in which case they're not going to want soggy forests to run around it necessarily. We don't know. We have no idea what Mark Ferguson's thinking of doing yet, do we? So
It's actually going to be on site in Antarctica the entire time.
Yeah, exactly.
Entire time.
Just like Continuum. Yeah.
Monk did ask if they come to an agreement, will we get anything at Comic-Con?
Hopefully.
Ooh,
Could be likely.
that's more likely because it'd be 6 months down the line.
Mm-hmm. Give time to crease out the wrinkles and everything else.
Well, if they're at the point now where they're trying to put the contracts together, and I don't know enough detail about this. So the point is, I don't know. Was Mark Ferguson, Hawk Osby talking about this? Because obviously we heard about Sony a couple of months ago now. We don't know. Was Mark Ferguson involved then? Is this goes because it's got back? We don't know. All we really heard was Sony talking about this big project, this big sort of like collaboration, and they wanted Stargate as part of it. That's really all we were told. So is it that Mark Ferguson, because obviously he's got close connections to Sony, because that's what so I think we can assume if what we're saying is what we've been told is right, this goes back at least 6 months, because Mark Ferguson and Hawk Osby would have had to have gone to Sony to say, we'd like out of Warhammer because we want to do Stargate, and they'd have to have gone, that's a good idea. Warhammer's getting a bit stagnant, so actually this could work out all round. Ronald D. Moore was available. He'd love to, this could. So that wouldn't be a quick conversation. That would probably take months to dance around, sort of thing. So even this could go back even a year or more for all we know.
Well, it's simply for
we need to find out a bit more.
of it.
We need to see what we can find out.
Sounds all promising, though.
It does. I like the inklings of it. Fingers crossed it happens, because oh god, we've only been talking about it for 4 years now.
They'll announce something. They'll announce a bloody bad robot. I'm going to produce a movie before I can just remind us. I do worry that sometimes these things are not.
Oh,
he's gone.
Bad robot. Just
you disappeared for a second.
Yeah, destroyed your.
So, are we gonna go like when they announce? Are we gonna go like instantly live, like freaking out, or what?
We'll do a 72-hour live stream after that. Just screaming Stargate.
Yeah. It'll be me live talking to like everybody I can get. What's going on with this? What's going on with that? Come on, people.
That would actually be really fun. If that happens, let's start a live, and then as we go, call everybody that we know. Like that would maybe be familiar with our audience and such. That'd be fun. Guess what? Stargate's here.
Yeah,
the best day ever. It will be the best day ever.
It will be.
Damn right. I can't wait. And then they tell us it's a hard reboot and Bad Robot are doing it. Or J.J. Abrams is come out of retirement to do it, and then we shoot ourselves in the face. I would take my bottle, smash it on the table, and glass myself.
So I'm gonna try to do a transition here. I don't know if that transition is gonna work as well since I told you it's happening, but with Melvin's message from earlier, I'm trying to find it. He said, "So why'd you name Tachyon Pulse Tachyon Pulse? It should have been named Sci-Trek Discovery, so you could have called it STD," which is pretty funny.
That would have been perfect.
It cracked me up just reading that.
Pulse, the name Tachyon Pulse came to me at like 3 a.m. because I couldn't sleep, and it just came to me, and I just thought it sounded cool. And that's exactly what happened with Sci-Trek when I came up with the name for Sci-Trek. It just came to me, and I just thought, that's it. And it was how I named my children. I was going through different ideas, and I went, that's it. And then I stuck with it then. So I haven't thought of it more than that I thought it sounded cool.
I love it. So my transition from that is, so Star Trek has kind of got its Kurtzman as its Feige.
I'll be back in a second.
Essentially, Fergus is lining himself up to be the Kurtzman or the Feige of Stargate. Do you like that, Sarah? Do you think that's a good idea? I feel like
Kurtzman involved in Stargate?
Well, no, not Kurtzman. Essentially, Fergus is it seems like if this is going to come to fruition, that Fergus would take the place of what not the place of Kurtzman, but an identical kind of role for Stargate that he has.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. I think he's like Brad Wright 2.0 in my mind. Like, I think he loves Stargate. We've all heard that he loves Stargate and had really good ideas and wrote the Bible or whatever. So I think he's a great choice, if you can't get Brad Wright himself, but hopefully they'll be smart enough to at least bring Brad Wright in as a consultant. I think that would be smart.
Well, if
But,
it's
I'm
Sony
excited.
doing it,
So
why not?
yeah.
Oh, that was David that said that. Oops. Sorry, David. Sorry, Melvin. Oops. Also, howdy, Michael. But I guess we were just saying, Jay, that essentially it seems like if this comes to fruition, Fergus would have a similar role that Kurtzman has for Star Trek for Stargate, which kind
I
of
think
makes
there's a lot of
ideal.
parallels. I mean, between Star Trek, in the franchise the way it was, the business the way it was, the popularity. There's a lot of parallels, and we've heard from Amazon, our sources, several times that Amazon looked to Star Trek and they wanted that sort of model.
Right.
Or that one thing we heard was they wanted sort of a Marvel model where they could do movies and TV series and overlap them and do things like that. And they thought Stargate would be perfect for that sort of thing, which is what Star Trek are trying to do now. I think that Amazon are looking at what they're doing, what Disney are doing with Marvel and Star Wars, and what Paramount are doing with Star Trek, and going, that's the sort of business model we want.
Right.
And I don't mean by that doing TV shows that are like Star Trek. I mean doing TV series, maybe at different time frames, doing TV movies that can then jump in, and I think that's I think that's the way they'll go. But yeah, Mark Fergus would end up being the boss of that. And another reason why I think he's probably gone for this was, you've got to remember, for God of War, for God of War, he wasn't the showrunner. He was doing scripts and he was the executive producer with Hawk Osby. There was a showrunner sort of thing who got fired as well. Apparently he did get fired. So Hawk Osby, I think, looks at this, and Mark Fergus look at this and go, this could be our baby for the next decade. From a business point of view as well, they're looking and they're going, particularly if we get a bit of freedom, we could really do something with this. So I think the only thing that could go wrong is the business side of it. It's like creatively they can nail this, but they've got to. They're a small company. They're not a big company, but neither was Secret Hideout. Secret Hideout didn't exist before they got the Star Trek deal. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, so just the last thought on that real quick. For the business and the creative side, since it's not technically Amazon or MGM doing it, and it would be Sony creating it, and Amazon and MGM buying it, of course, could, like we've mentioned in the comments in just a second ago, could Brad Wright and DeLuise, Malazzi, people like that come and be hired on as consultants, just in general? Does this, I guess, open up the avenue for that to happen a little easier?
Again, if we use the Star Trek model as an example, one of the things Secret Hideout did after about 12 months, when they got slammed a bit for breaking canon and stuff. So one of the things they did was they brought Gene Roddenberry's kid, Rod Roddenberry, which is really his name, and Roddenberry Entertainment in. And they basically made Roddenberry Entertainment sort of like the canon gurus. And everything goes through Roddenberry Entertainment, and they sort of like give the thumbs up or the thumbs down to a lot of the scripts and story ideas, and they sort of their idea is, we want to keep it Star Trek sort of thing. And it was in part to appease the fans, because we all went fucking nuts after STD came out, and the Klingons are all weird, and all the ships are all weird, and they changed all the canon for the Klingon War and all this. So they sort of did it to appease the fans. They go, look, Gene Roddenberry's kid's in it. You can't get angry. For me, it would make sense. You do something similar with Brad Wright. You bring him in as a consultant, but also as sort of like your Stargate guru, and you like everything goes through him, and he just sort of like is just as an advisor. That's not really. Oh no, we kind of we kind of did that in the other show and blah blah. You know what I mean? And so to me, bringing somebody like Brad Wright, and maybe Malozzi, who I don't like, but maybe Malozzi or DeLuise, just to DeLuise to me would be brilliant. As consultant sort of thing, because again, it's exactly what Star Trek did. And again, I think somebody just say, just because do we really want to go the way of Marvel, because they're not exactly pulling up trees right now. It's not about the content or what the show is. It's the business model in that you have TV shows, movies, and that's the way to build a franchise. You can have prequels and sequels sort of running at the same time. It's that sort of it's a model for how to build a franchise, not the content.
And if you think about Marvel, even though it's not hitting in all cylinders right now, it did for a decade and a little over a decade. And if they would have focused on the quality over quantity throughout this most recent decade, the last 4 or 5 years, it's weird now we're about to be in the 5. I don't think we would be worried about that per se, because they showed how to do it well for 12 years, which was cool.
Yeah. And I think we'll see something like Star Trek. I think it'll be something like Star Trek.
Also, of course, I love me some Jon Favreau, but who wrote and helped start the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Mark Fergus.
Can I start a little party dance right now? Is that okay? Because I'm ready.
He wrote Iron Man, which is potentially exactly. I just think it's an interesting idea. I think Mark Fergus is the right person. I think the business model works for the show because it's such a big universe like Star Trek. And I think we're a bit, I don't know about you, but I think there's an element of fatigue when it comes to big spacey stuff, and Stargate isn't that, or doesn't have to be. It can have a bit of that and a bit of thing. I just think if Amazon have got any bloody sense anyway, and they let Mark Fergus do what he is good at, we could get something that it will be different to SG1. It will be different to Universe. It will be different to it will be Mark Fergus's Stargate. It will be different, and we have to get that into our heads early, because you're only going to be disappointed if you expect SG1. You're going to be. Yeah. It's going to be, TV audiences are a little bit different than we were 30 years ago. Expectations are different, and blah blah blah. So I mean, but I just think Stargate is one of those things that it has the potential to fit the here and now better than Star Trek does. The only concern I've got is that Stargate sort of almost celebrated the military.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure a studio would want to do that right now. Or I think that might be, how do we do that? But I would say Stargate was already doing that, because it was already bringing in civilian oversight, and it was already sort of like putting the military on the back burner, sort of thing, on the back seat almost, and whatever. So even that's not really a concern.
At a certain point, it almost just became like the military was the framing thing for an episode, or for the story overall.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and even if you had a writer that, I don't think they would, because I've never seen anything in Mark Fergus's thing to say that he's woke, but even if they wanted to do things like talk about transgender issues or anything like that,
right?
Stargate, exactly the same as Star Trek, has got loads of different ways you could do that easily without it being in your face, because it can comment on all sorts. And also, I want to see a show. Then my problem is Amazon, I think, are a little bit more Republican side than Democrat side. Right? So they lean a little bit more that way as a business. They're a little closer to the Republican side, which is not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. But what I wouldn't want to see is we're going into 4 years of Trump again, and it is going to be divisive. It is going to be a little bit. There might be a little bit of turmoil. I don't want to see this used as a show to bash Trump with. or bash the Republicans with. But I know I don't want to see a political commentary.
Oh no, we were just saying it's going to be a little bit of turmoil. That's what we're saying.
Yeah. Oh no, there is going to be turmoil because that man is an idiot. But
there'll be plenty.
It should be fun. But it's going to be interesting. I tell you what, the next 4 years are going to be bloody interesting, if nothing
one
else.
way or another.
Yeah, I don't. We are going to see TV shows that don't subtly bash Trump. We've already seen a few.
Oh, plenty.
And I don't want to see that. Don't need it.
Well, okay, just to jump on that military thing, Joey did just bring up a good point. Well, and also, too, that your point right there is maybe that means Amazon's not as opposed to making something a little more military focused, Maybe they might be more okay with it for the middle America aspect of it, try to grab that Yellowstone demographic to some degree. But Joey did...
I think Hollywood is leaning back that way. There is a reaction to the anti-woke thing. Disney are definitely. Well, we talk about Doctor Who in a minute. Disney are like, Jesus Christ! Everything we do, we've got to go the other way. We've got to get this stigma away from us, sort of thing. And Amazon have always been willing to be a bit braver, I think, with a lot of the stuff they do. Even if it has got, The Boys is gross. Perfect example. But, even that's got. Some people will point to that and say it's woke. In that some of the stuff it talks about sometimes, but it's really not, and it is quite political when you scratch the surface of it. Sort of thing.
Kripke calls it woke. The creator calls it woke. He's like, I'm trying to lean into that, but do it well, and for the most part, he does. Maybe last season might not have been as great, but typically,
I think it's good that it sort of does both sides of an argument as well. And that's you decide, sort of thing, because it's it does sort of like go. Nazis and things like this, which is maybe an extreme left wing sort of thing, but it does it in a way that's sort of like still good versus evil. Well, it's not really though, is it actually? Because it's the good guys are not they're not clear cut, are they? They're not clean cut.
No,
sort of thing. They're drug addicts and bloody
drug addicts hired by the CIA. They are like the deep state bad guys at the same time. Like you're choosing. It's a very odd dichotomy, which is good, it adds for layered and leveled television that you got to think about, which is good.
And I think Second One is right. It has been blunt about it, but it does it through the metaphor of the show, sort of thing. It does it through the story. It doesn't. For me, I remember there's a Star Trek. It was Picard season 2, episode 2, and 7 of 9, and the other character. They're walking through a back alley, and they basically just stop and do a 2-minute commentary about racism, and then they carry on. It's the show literally just stopped. They went racism bad, and then the show carried on. Right? It stuck out like a sore thumb. It was ridiculous. That's what annoys me. And Doctor Who, the Tennant specials, did exactly the same thing. They made a point about transgender issues, which is transgender rights, which is something I thoroughly support and agree with. But then they did it again, and then they did it again. And then they sort of stopped the show to make another point about Doctor Who isn't a male or a female or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you've told us. Thank you. Can we move on with the story now? Sort of thing. And that's what annoys me. I don't mind a show being political and a show making you stop and think, because that's what sci-fi does. That's what it should do. I just don't. I just don't want it to actually be like a political broadcast. I'll watch politics if I want that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, just to keep it simple, like, just let people be people. And if you're stopping your show to do something like that, there's ways to do that naturally. Like your perfect example you brought up many times is the old Star Trek episode where they have like the opposite side of like half and half people, and it's essentially like Rwanda back in the day. It's like, okay, relax, y'all. Like come on.
Yeah, it was not subtle. It was not blunt, but at the same time, they didn't actually have to tell you what they were doing, if that makes sense. Right. Whereas a lot of shows now, they have to tell you. They have to sort of do the metaphor. They have to do the black and white facing. And then at some point, they have to go, Have you noticed that his face? I guess I did notice. Thank you. They don't have to. TV shows don't have to do that. They can do the story. They can be blunt. They can have it in your face, but do it in a clever way that just tells the story, and we can connect the dots all by ourselves.
Right. Maybe doing it more balanced. Like it seems like it's all like, I guess, the woke side of things. Maybe if they put in like the other, made it like where both points of view were being kind of represented, people would be more open to it, if that makes sense. But
yeah. I think it's more real. I think is more real. We almost have to have like extremes of a thing. It's like it's got to be one or the other. And I'm like, actually, what? Life isn't like that. Life is a big blur of grey in the middle normally, and right and wrong doesn't really exist in reality. Not very often. Right and wrong tends to be. I've never had an argument in my life, I don't think, where I was 100% right.
Yeah.
I might be like 70% or 80% right. You know what I mean? But I've normally done something wrong, or I've done, But that's what life's like. There's no. It's very rare for it to be black and white. I'd like that TV to sort of like show that. And again, Stargate did that because I mean, Jack and Ethan, they didn't do everything right, and they still got they were still military, and they pointed out to us, that time because Jack wanted to go back with the military to free wherever it was, and Hammond was sort of like, we don't do that, we don't go over and force our will on others, and Jack and Ethan was like, since when?
There's no prime directive.
No, exactly. So I don't need. I'd like something that's a little bit more real, and that's one of the things I always say about Stargate with humor, is that it's actually realistic. He's not cracking jokes; they're being sarcastic, like people do in real life.
It's bad timing. RDA is terrible with this, perfect with this timing at a comedic level, but in real life, you would be pissed off that he's joking half the time, and the characters are pissed off that he's joking a lot of times. You're like, this is not the freaking time or place, dude. He's like, this is how I go through it. This is how I process the situation we're in right now. And we're going to get through it because I process it this way.
Gallows humor.
Well, I tell you what, guys, I've worked for the NHS. I've worked, hospitals. I've worked in some very stressful situations. And I tell you, the main thing is, the more difficult something gets, the more people take the piss. Because it's a coping mechanism. It is a coping mechanism, And that is realistic. That is real life. That is what people do, And you see these gritty. I've said it a million times, haven't I? You see these gritty dramas that have no humor, no silliness, and no anything in them. I'm like, that's not real life. If you knew some of these people from like Broadchurch or something like this, some of these gritty, murder dramas, you'd be like, my God, you're the most boring man that's ever lived. Please never speak to me again. She's like,
yeah.
Or you'd be worried he's going to kill himself. You'd be worried he's suicidal, because I'm pretty sure that guy's suicidal. I'm pretty sure he's going to top himself. He's too serious. I mean, Jesus God. British sense of humour, Peter Moore's right. British sense of humour that can be very dark. Yeah. We're very sarcastic.
Okay, just to bring it back to the Mark Fergus stuff real quick. There are just two thoughts I just have, The one, before we get to the
I wasn't going to bring this up. I'm so sorry.
No. This is great. Talk about Stargate, obviously. The Doku and Nosferatu. But my thought process here is, obviously Fergus and Ottby did The Expanse. The Expanse got kind of Stargate University by the end of it. Or not by the end of it. It always was, I guess, a little Stargate University. By the time we got to Stargate Universe, maybe we were getting Expanse-like kind of aspects of things. We obviously got the Supergate equivalent in The Expanse. Do y'all think Stargate Universe will be kind of the dynamic they're looking for? Because that's much closer to what The Expanse is than SG-1 or SGA.
Well, hasn't he talked about, or wasn't he into the world builders and stuff? Which was
he was into SGU. He did seem to like that.
So
I look. I mean, to be honest, SGU is more like modern sci-fi.
Yeah, it is.
SGU is it wasn't the first because I mean it copied Battlestar Galactica. But if you think about shows like Silo, Foundation, not so much Star Trek. Star Trek would lean more towards SG-1 because I mean now in that they have injections of humor at least. It's not the quality. It doesn't have the quality of SG-1. But it has injections of humor and stuff. The Expanse, Foundation don't. SGU didn't particularly. They tried, but it just didn't work. The Eli character tried to be the comedy element, and it just didn't work. For me, anyway. Not the same as Jack, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, something in the tone of SGU would be more in line with the sort of stuff we see now, maybe. So yeah, who knows? And I tell you what, SGU, you do any video on SGU, you'll get a bunch of people saying they hate it, and you'll get a bunch of people saying it's the best Stargate. I love it. I watch it every couple of years. It's amazing. But you got to remember as well. I mean, think about everything that Mark Fergus has done over the years. He has a dry, quite sarcastic sense of humor. He wrote Iron Man. For God's sake. Yeah.
I mean, The Expanse has some.
There was a lot of dark humor in The Expanse.
Bobby is funny in The Expanse. She's hilarious in The Expanse. She's one of my favorite characters.
But it was done in a realistic way, which is what we want. We don't want them telling jokes. We don't want them, we want humor, like taking the, So yeah. But I have absolutely no concerns. If this deal comes off, and this is true, I have absolutely no concerns about Mark Fergus doing this.
It feels like best case scenario.
Yeah.
Which, with that thought process, here's that final thought. If this comes to fruition, of course, there's the big if that dangles over it. But if it does, hard reboot or continuation, what do you think is more likely? Because they obviously love Stargate. They could reboot it and do really well with it. And if anybody were to do it, it'd kind of be the people that would be great to do it. But they love the original Stargate. So do y'all have thoughts about where they might be?
I would like a continuation. And I would think that that's probably what he's leaning towards. Maybe they'll just start it, kind of real continuation at first and then kind of diverge from that into more of its own thing and get away from the original, but somehow create that bridge between the old and the new. I think
kind
would
of
be good.
Like soft rebooty.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense to me. Gotta remember as well though that from a very good source that I've been told that Amazon are accepting pitches for Stargate in the new year. So we don't forget, and that was a really good source. So I don't think we should. I don't think this is a done deal.
Right.
Okay.
If we're following me, but I think if Mark Fergus was to do this, I think it would be a continuation because that's what he's worked on for 3 years.
Hard continuation. Yeah.
So we'll see. But Amazon have always, from what I've been told, Amazon have always leaned in heavily into it's got to be a continuation. That was always their ideal. It's got to be a continuation because they go with the metadata and that's what the fans want. So
at least at the beginning, I mean, you can get away from it later on. I think if it's good, but in the beginning, you got to draw people in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they will do. They'll have some legacy characters and things in there just to get us excited. And they're not stupid. They know how to do these things. They've just got to get the initial decisions right. How many TV shows have you gone like that? Right, from fundamentally, you fucked this up from the beginning. If they can get the initial stuff right,
I agree.
It's not easy to bring Stargate back. I know some people will argue that it's the easiest thing in the world. It's really not. No. They've got to get some fundamental stuff right from day one.
Or you've got 20 years of story and history that we've seen, much less the actual tens of millions of years worth of history they've actually technically built up throughout to pull from. And where do you start with that? You can pick a spot anywhere, but you better not forget about those 10 million years of history and everything else while you're informing that. Or if you do, good luck and draft 2 or 3.
There's so many spin-offs they could do. Ancients, they could do the Satita story, of Ronan's background, or just that whole planet of how the war started or whatever that was. Like go there, or just his life as a runner. Like how long was he a runner before? Yeah.
Satita, the Chris Judge Jaffa TV show, they've easy options to jump off of. Not easy to start, but easy to pick. And I guess then you got to figure out the business aspects and if they are going to form fit to what you want.
Do you know what I would do? And I think it's the easiest thing in the world to do. Is something's happened, or somebody figures out how to save the Destiny crew, right? Or how to get to the Destiny. Oh yeah, there you go. I've got to start reading the comments. Great minds think alike, Ian. So you go get the Destiny, but through the events of doing that, something happens that releases a new enemy, basically. And that's how you kickstart it. So you kickstart it by going backwards to go forwards, sort of thing. And I think that would be a straightforward and easy way to do it. And you could introduce lots of things with that because you've got the SG command, Stargate command is the base from where they blah blah blah. And for me, that would be great. I'd love the opening scene. There's Rodney, and he's on the thing, and he's doing stuff, and he just goes, "Got it!" and just goes running into the command. He goes and starts yelling that he's figured it out. Sort of thing. Opening sequence. Easy.
That'd actually be great, and with that, you could kind of attune for time and say that, hey, everything's happening in real time. Rodney had to go out there, and he's flying back with the Destiny crew. And by the time we start, or by the time season 1 ends, or whatever it might be, by the time the pilot ends, then they reach Earth. And okay, well, that's our natural time. He was able to get the ship running. We actually have a lot of new cool tech. We get a lot of familiar things. We get to catch up with people that we haven't seen in a long time, and then jump into a new kind of a story, I guess. Just that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. But then it would have to, for me, the SGU thing would have to trigger something that allows.
Well, maybe the villains that have been following him the entire time, following the Destiny the entire time.
I'd like to see something new. I'd go with something they do something new. Sorry, I interrupted you then. I think they'd go with something new. But it could be that them traveling back, something, like goes, oh, what's that? Or that whatever they do to get to SGU releases some enemy. We had that theory about it was the Furlings, and it was the Furlings. We basically said there was some evil Furlings. Right? And my story idea was there's some evil Furlings. They and the Asgard used the Stargate to basically put them into another dimension, like a prison, instead of so they didn't actually send them somewhere. They're in like limbo. It's a bit like like Superman when they in the glass thing in Superman 2. And they so it's a bit like that. So they used the Stargate to put them somewhere, and then they're in like limbo. And then whatever it was, the SG they do to save the Destiny sort of like releases them from their prison, and that's how the villain. But you wouldn't have got the Furlings. You could do anything. You could do any villain that the Asgard had, or the Ancients had imprisoned using the Stargate, and that released them, sort of thing. And then you've got a whole new villain to go, and it would go along the lines of sort of what they did with Anubis. They could do sort of a similar sort of. I think this new villain slowly building power over 2 or 3 seasons. Right.
Anubis was the first Thanos,
Yeah.
More evil than Thanos. At least Thanos didn't think he was evil.
Anubis
knew it.
And he was like, I'm all right with it. Thanos was like, I'm trying to do something for the greater good, whether they believe it or not.
Right. So anyway, shall we next Sunday? Shall we do a special live Stargate episode where we'll review everything that's done. We'll talk about 2025. We'll talk about what's happened in 2024, and that'll give me a chance, hopefully, to find out what the bloody hell's going on.
Yeah,
that's our first Sunday live. So everyone fancy that next week, next Sunday?
very fun. I was also thinking,
tell us if you fancy that.
I might run this by you. Would you like a full house for that? Because I was thinking maybe for the first stream of the year for Sci-Fi Sundays, we might invite friends of the channel, get Melvin, get Aaron, get whoever else that wants to come on, Kokla.
Give them a time slot and jump them in just for like half an hour. We don't want too many people on at once, but yeah, jump them in for half an hour. Give them a time slot. Say, I fancy coming in and talk
we
about.
need 15 people here for the news, right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think everyone's on board with that. We'll do that then. So that's Sunday. So we're doing a Tuesday stream, and then we're doing the Sunday stream. And we'll do a Stargate special because I'm sorry I've hijacked this video completely. I'm sorry about
that. That is nothing to apologize. We got to talk Stargate. I think all of us are happy, you know, especially with the freaking news that it could possibly.
Rumor, not news. Rumor, very much rumor. I've got one person that's told me this, and I don't know them very well, so I'm not. We need more.
Come on, sources. Come on. Donnie just hopped in, said howdy, Merry Christmas, and he hoped it was merry and bright. Thank you. Howdy.
Happy holidays.
So
that's true. Or you were going to go Nosferatu, probably.
Nosferatu, yes.
Harris hasn't seen it yet.
I've yet to see Nosferatu.
Awesome movie. I loved it like so much, like way more than I thought I would. And I'm not like a horror fan, like at all. And I didn't think it was really scary. I mean, there was, some jump scares or whatever, but I just loved that movie. It was like an art film. And it was very, reminiscent of like old school horror, But I just, it's like, it's been a long time since I've loved a movie like so much. It's so good. I love it. Yeah.
Oh, we're going into Oscar territory.
Yeah.
Special effects and things for this month. It's phenomenal. The thing that really worried me about Nosferatu, and I think I even said it, this is going to be awful or it'll be brilliant because it won't be anything in between because it's paying homage to the original, the granddad, the great granddad of like horror movies, and it does it brilliantly.
I've heard it stays very close, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't seen the original one, so I don't know, but
it's no, it's not a talkie.
Right.
There's some very cool special effects, use shadows and things. Sorry, Sarah.
I've seen clips of the original one, but I haven't watched it.
Well, look, the beautiful thing about the original was it did use the light and the shadows and things like this, and you're watching Nosferatu, the modern one, and you're like, oh, man, they just nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. Yeah, they got. It's what you don't see. Do you know what I mean? It's like and they do that perfectly. They cast it brilliantly.
I was going to ask, it has maybe my favorite cast in a film in the past.
Oh,
really good. Yeah.
Willem Dafoe is just. It's just, I can't. I
want to go see it again. Yeah.
I have to put a hat out to I won't say the name, but it's actually not out here yet. But I got to see it thanks to a friend, so I will just say thank you so much because I adored it. So and I know you'll be watching at some point. Thank you again. You're a legend. It doesn't come out here till New Year's Day, but
really?
Yeah.
So but
so good. It's an art film, really. I mean, it
is art. Don't get me wrong, it is entertaining, but you're in awe of it. I'm just watching it going, my God, that's so clever. It's like but I got a little bit of a rundown because a person I spoke to was basically talking through some of the special effects and stuff and how they did things, and apparently said the director was just like, we are going to use CGI to the absolute minimum. We want this to be physical effects. We want this to be real and everything. And you can tell because it just works. There's some backgrounds and stuff that are CGI, but other than that,
it's so Robert. You're gonna love it, Harris. You will love it.
Oh, if y'all are clamoring about it like this, y'all know I'm gonna next Sunday. it might have to be just a Nosferatu special.
Just don't touch yourself inappropriately during it because you'll be that excited. It's the whole way through. By the end, when I finished watching it, I was just like, I actually asked my friend, "Can I share this with Harris because he'll love it?" And they were like, "No, you can't." I'm like, "But he'll love it. You can't share it with him." I'm like, please let me share it with him. No.
That one scene, like towards the end, where she acts all like possessed or whatever, that is like amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm actually like ecstatic. I'm going to buy my ticket as we're going to do our like exit on the video eventually. I'm going to be buying my ticket right then.
Yeah.
Sci-fi Quest has just put an interesting comment on there. He's in the latest images from, like we'll talk about this next on Tuesday. We're going to talk about the shows we're most excited about.
Yeah,
I think we're going to talk about Alien Earth a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about that. That's the number one thing I'm excited about.
Yeah,
and
it could, if they do that right, that could be one of the best shows for a decade. Sci-fi shows. They could be.
It's funny you say Robert Eggers just a second ago with Nosferatu, because Noah Hawley, I think, is kind of the modern equivalent for Robert Eggers TV, where Robert Eggers is kind of afforded a film budget that most people aren't allowed to, and he is still able to be like a true film auteur. You know, he's a cinema auteur, not just a director to hire kind of deal. Where Noah Hawley makes sure everything he does some IP stuff, obviously Legion's X-Men stuff, and Fargo's Fargo, so. He does things within the realm of IP and does them with just this touch of just it's poised, and I appreciate that from the artsy fartsy aspect. But damn, is he just a good filmmaker in general and can make something that's just fun to watch? Yeah. Alien Earth. Oh
no, I think we're going to be talking about that a lot in 2025. I think.
Ecstatic.
Me too.
Did y'all ever see The Lighthouse and The Northman?
I've seen The Northman.
Okay.
No, I want to. It's one of those, like I was going to see it and I think it just got kind of lost in the shuffle of life or whatever. But yeah, that's that one with Alexander Skarsgård, right? The Northman?
The Northman, yes. And it is so good. The Lighthouse is also that. Well, okay, so I did see someone say, I forgot who I was watching, but one of the reviews I did watch for Nosferatu said like, this is Robert Eggers' pet project that he's always wanted to make, and he finally had the 3 movies under his belt that he needed to make sure. Lighthouse probably got him all that lighting that he wanted to do with all the black and white, trying to frame everything perfectly, et cetera, et cetera. Oh yeah, The Witch, whoever, I forget who it was, but whoever said it said that this movie did for vampires what The Witch did for witches, which is cool because he just does it so well. Speaking of,
it's going to be better than you think it is, because I just went into it like, okay, it'll be a good, but it was like blew my, oh my god, like
I'm so excited.
It does not disappoint.
No.
And it is a cinema movie. If you can go to the cinema, please go to watch this movie at the cinema.
Definitely.
It will not be the same on a small screen.
No.
I cannot wait to see it at the cinema. I've only seen it on my TV at home, which is pretty big, don't get me wrong. And the version I saw was not like full 4K. I had to get it to be condensed so we could send anybody. So, I mean, I'm just thinking, oh my God, I love this, watching it like that. I cannot wait to see this film in full 4K.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. So that'll be me New Year's Day.
Did they do it in IMAX? Do you know?
I don't know, but we've got a 4K cinema by me, so they put everything on that. So
that'll be.
That's still a bigger screen, but they all their movies they have their big 4K screen on. So that'll do me. Odeon have that. So
tickle my fancy. I think it's
actually get a projector. Secular Monk's correct. Get a projector. But that you get a projector that makes a noise as well. That'd be so cool for Nosferatu.
Yeah.
You'd be straight back into the 1920s, wouldn't you?
Just your hair rising on the back of your neck, just waiting for it. Oh, I'm pumped.
I tell you what, I'll ask you guys actually, because Nosferatu is a film that completely exceeds expectations.
Yeah.
When was the last time a film did that? It was better than you were.
I know. trying to think of that the other day. When's the last time I felt this way about a movie? And I can't even think of it. Maybe The Matrix. The Matrix, maybe. That's about it. I think that's the only thing I think of.
That's going. See, that's got. How far back is that going that you watched? I remember that I was the same as you, Sarah. I came out of The Matrix going. It was the only time I've ever wanted to sort of like turn around and go straight back in and watch it again.
Yeah.
So like, I'll go buy another ticket and straight back in. Sort of thing. And Nosferatu is almost like that. It's game changing.
Top Gun Maverick, maybe, like in the sense of it didn't have as high of a ladder to climb necessarily.
It didn't disappoint. It didn't disappoint.
You came out saying like, "Wow," kind of.
Yeah.
And I think that met my expectations.
Yeah.
I was happy with it. I came out of it happy. Yeah. I came out of it like going, yeah, that was a Top Gun movie. They didn't fuck that up.
Enjoyable. It was good. Yeah.
But I don't think I didn't come out of it going, I want to buy another ticket and go watch that again immediately. It wasn't like that. This is one of those films that's not. I think, Sarah, you said it earlier. It's art. It's not just a movie. It transcends. It's honestly, it's that good. And it's one of those films I probably will never watch again. I'll probably watch it at the cinema and never watch it again because it's not exactly exciting. It's not a popcorn movie. It's a bit like watching Shawshank or something like that. You come away and go, oh my God, that was amazing, brilliant. Do you want to watch it again? God, no. Maybe in 10 years.
If it's on TV or something.
Yeah, I'll watch it if it's on TV. I literally will watch it. Or, The Green Mile or something. Massive respect for it. I don't want to watch it on a Sunday afternoon. I'll watch Father Goose for the 20th time or something. But everybody should watch it at least once at the cinema if they can because it's that good.
Agree.
Unlike the Doctor Who Christmas special. See how I did that segue there? Which was shit.
Okay, did you actually watch it? I'm surprised. Where's Matt? Matt wanted to talk about it.
Matt didn't want to talk about it. Matt's message was, what the hell did I just watch?
I thought that was the one to talk about it.
He was furious. Yeah, I did try and get him on, actually. I'll get him on.
So.
I will get him to come and talk to us about it. And we'll do a video or something. But
it was okay.
It was better. It was better.
Because I hadn't watched last year's Christmas special, so I watched that one. Watched
those are the
last
ones with
year's
right?
back to back, and this year's was way better than last year's with the goblins and stuff.
Oh no, it was still shit, but it was way better.
Yeah,
it was way better. It's better than the Tennant specials. I hated the Tennant specials. Really hated them. I am a massive fan of, and I've forgotten his name, Barney from Thingy. Oh, he's got Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris. I'm a massive fan of Neil Patrick Harris, and I thought he was crap in it. I thought his character was awful. I couldn't stand the way they split the TARDISes at the end. And I was like, oh, for the love of God. I was like, it just made me so angry. It was like watching Star Trek when J.J. Abrams got his hands on it. I was just like, the canon, come on, people. What? And that makes no sense. The main thing that annoys me, actually, about Doctor Who is it doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. It doesn't. It's supposed to be science fiction, and it's never been too strict. It's always been a bit silly, Doctor Who.
Kind of loosely based on science.
Loosely, yeah, exactly. And they break rules, and the Doctor will do stuff sometimes. You just think that I know he said that that's what he was going to do, but how did he actually do it?
Sometimes they try to be too clever with the turns and stuff, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't make any sense. But I moaned about it in the video I did for the Tech Impulse podcast. There's a bit in it he says, well, this cures this solves the biggest mystery in the universe. Why do hotel rooms have a door that's always locked? I'm like, because it's an adjoining room. That's not a mystery. Or it's a cupboard. It's just stupid. And then he says, your house doesn't reflect you because you can fake it. You can put up pictures and flowers and it doesn't represent you. But when you pick a hotel room, that represents you. No, it doesn't.
When do you get to pick a hotel room? Don't you just
never? I'd like a hotel room, please. Oh, yes. Well, here's your room, soon 2112. Oh, no. I want to be escorted around and pick one. No. No. The worst you might do is say, can I have one that's as far away from the elevator or as close to the elevator as possible, please? Either whether you are lazy or whether you don't want people walking past your door all night, sort of thing. That is the most people do when picking a room. Or it's based on how much money am I willing to spend. Right. And so, like, can you get a suite? I can get a suite. I'm going to have a suite. Or I can't get a suite. Have you got a single bed?
Or the view if they're somewhere where there's a view. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That might be.
So it's just stupid. It's just really stupid. So yeah, it annoyed me a little bit.
I mean, the idea of a hotel where you can travel in time is kind of cool. But
I thought that was a really clever idea, actually. I did think that was a clever idea, even though it does sort of throw back into. They even made a few comments about how it did sort of disagree with some of the rules that Doctor Who had in place on time travel and stuff. But because then that's why I had to throw all these time locked doors and stuff into it to sort of get around rules that they'd set themselves. But it's I thought that was quite clever. I liked when the Doctor was arguing with himself. I thought that was quite funny. I'd like that. The next 20 minutes of the episode I thought was boring as hell. But him and that
it was
like Hot Tub Time Machine
or whatever. It was kind of like, okay, how many,
Yeah, okay, they're friends now. Can we move on, please?
Yeah.
And then the Tyrannosaurus Rex, I thought, that's Disney's money spent. But then it actually was relevant to the story, so it was fine. And again, that was quite. I quite like the way it did that. To be fair, but the end. Joy! It's joy! Joy to the world! Of course! That's where the song comes
that was
from.
a little bit.
Like, no!
It leaned a little bit too much into the feel-goody kind of stuff, which I'm not a huge fan of. But
But again, it's just stupid. At what point did Russell T Davies write that line with the joy to the world? Oh, of course. When actually in the episode when they did it, and the Doctor realizes and he does that, and they go, "What the bloody hell is he talking about? Joy to the what is he on about?" And then he sort of they sing at the end. I went, "Oh my God! Please do not tell me that's what they just did." And I was sort of like rewound it. Yeah, no, that's what they just did.
They did it. It was a little bit like, okay.
They should have just done that. They should have left that out. The Bethlehem bit I could have lived with, but the joy to the world and the Bethlehem bit, that was too much.
The bank balance.
Apparently not by the ratings, right?
Yeah.
4 million.
Well, Donnie said he thought it was pretty decent, neither the best nor the worst, which is good. It
was okay.
It was better. It was better.
And last year's with the goblins and the singing, it was like I almost had to turn it off. But I just I'm gonna make myself watch it.
The year with Anita was the best part. Y'all agree?
What, sorry?
The year with Anita was the best part of the special.
Was that the hotel chick?
No, I didn't like it. I thought I was just a bit bored by it, so there was this crack on.
It went on too long. It was fine. They could have cut it in half and it would have been just as good, I think, that segment.
I know you just said RTD, old Russell T Davies there, but I think I read an article. Didn't Stephen Moffat write it entirely for this one?
Oh, I'm not sure, but he could have. Yeah, I think he did, actually. I think you're right. But Russell T Davies is still the showrunner.
Aye.
But I think you're right. I think Moffat, which is probably why it was funny in places, because Moffat can write humor. I think you're right there, actually. I think I read that when I was going through everything.
Yep. Okay.
But yeah, hated it. And I love Stephen Moffat. I think Moffat is one of the best writers we've had come out of Britain for years.
Did he write a lot of the what Doctor did he write the most for?
I got this wrong. I'm not a big Whovian, so I'm going to get it wrong, so I'm not answering.
Okay.
But I think it was Matt Smith.
Yeah, I think it was that era too, yeah.
It was Eccleston and Smith, right? Because I'm pretty sure Mark and Melvin talked me through it one day. We're like, no, Moffat was this era. Russell T Davies was this era. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of got it, I think.
I got really into Doctor Who, Tennant, and Smith, and I fell out very quickly with Capaldi.
Oh wow!
Really quickly.
Yeah, I didn't really care for the first season, but the last season Capaldi did with what was her name? That was a good season. I really liked.
Yeah, apparently it did get a lot better. I just they tried to do something different with the Doctor, didn't they? And it didn't quite work, and I fell out of it. And then and I never fell back in.
Yeah. I do really like him and Clara. Didn't work when it moved to the next season, or the last season he did was really good though. I think.
Yeah, probably right. But yeah, Doctor Who's never been quite for me, to be honest. I've never been a big Whovian, but I do understand why people love it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's got to be better than it is.
Well, because you just mentioned a bunch of fantasy and crazy stuff earlier, that definitely wasn't necessarily in that science fiction kind of realm. I got to ask the question. What's actually more science fiction, Star Wars or Doctor Who?
It's hard to say. They're almost the same, kind of in a lot of ways. It's almost like, they're different things, but it's like they're pretty close.
Star Wars is considered a space fantasy. So what would, if it's being technically classified as something, what would be the technical classification for Doctor Who?
It is sci-fi.
I would say it's I have to go with Doctor Who is more science fiction-y, because Star Wars is just space travel. I don't know. It's just.
Right. I'm going to say that Doctor Who. You got to remember, Doctor Who was a kids show. It was never really supposed to be for adults. It was always supposed to be a kids show.
Star Wars too.
Well, yeah, and they and it's got more serious with Tennant or whatever. It became more sort of thing, but they did the time travel thing, and they fell into the trap that most time travel stuff does, is that they got confused about the rules that they'd established. And then, and it gets a little bit. So it's. I'm going to say it's science fiction, but with a small science, big fiction.
Yeah.
Whereas The Expanse is science fiction, big science, little fiction. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? So they're not as bothered about the science, even though they do try to throw it in occasionally.
Right. So it would be a soft sci-fi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little science.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It wouldn't be science fantasy. It would be a soft sci-fi.
No, because they do try more and they do try to have scientific explanations for things, but they then either forget, write themselves into a problem, and then just have ridiculous, I'm just going to use that. Oh, I still hate the sonic screwdriver, by the way.
The new one. It's it's not a screwdriver.
No, it's not. It's the Adam Sandler did a movie where he had a TV remote that controlled the world, and it looks like that to me. Click. It looks like the click remote control. But anyway,
it's like a remote control. I'm I don't like it at all. I like the.
I know nothing about it, but it just looks like to me, it just looks like a different variation of British wands. It's like Harry Potter before Harry Potter, but a little sci-fi version in a way.
Right.
I don't know.
It's the science is loose, to say the least.
Yeah.
With Doctor Who.
David,
fine, because it's not that sort of show. It's not that sort of show that you can go canon, because they.
Right.
It's not that sort of show.
Okay. That's interesting.
Which is why I couldn't be a big Whovian, because it would do my head in.
Yeah, just enjoy the ride.
Constantly breaking their own rules would just do my nut.
Don't think too hard about it, kind of.
Yeah, and we'll just cross these wires, and then that'll solve the problem, and we'll just go.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with Doctor Who, but Melvin, I agree. I love Netflix's Lost in Space. Yeah. That's one that I kind of wish would have kept going a little bit, but I was happy that they ended it with
I liked how it ended. I thought it worked. I thought it was quite
I
nice.
haven't I'm gonna finish it. I started it and haven't finished it.
Well, that fit the thing of a popular show nowadays is 5 seasons, and that's kind of what they did.
Yeah,
they did the show that they intended to do from the outset, sort of thing. Which is something I didn't know, actually, that most TV shows, most new shows, particularly sci-fi shows and things, when they do the pitch, they plan out 5 seasons. They do a 5-season story arc most of the time, which I didn't know that.
Oh, right, really, because then you start getting into, you got to come up with weird things to keep it going, and I like it that they know from the beginning what the whole thing's going to be, and you're not wandering.
Yeah, which is like Lost. When you watch Lost, and they didn't know how popular this was going to be. They didn't think this shit through.
I quit watching it because they kept bringing up more questions and never answering any, and I was like, forget this. I don't want to watch it anymore.
Yeah, I got bored with this now. Yeah. But then you watch something like Fringe, where there was a 5-season arc planned. That you're like, okay, that's brilliant.
I love Fringe. I just rewatched it not too long ago.
Yeah, it's a fantastic series. Everyone that slags J.J. Abrams off, I sort of go, yeah, but he is capable of doing good stuff. Look at Fringe.
Yeah.
Okay, he destroyed Star Trek and then destroyed Star Wars.
Really is.
But
well, Joey just brought up a great point. JJ always starts things, never finishes them. He's really good at coming up with a good concept, and then he just kind of let it sputters out.
Yeah, true.
Well, also, I guess whenever TV shows enter that season 4, season 5 range, there is a clause, I believe, in I think it's a SAG clause, but if actors reach a 4th season of a show, it's either after the 3rd or after the 4th season. That next season, they have to get, I think, a 20 to 25% pay bump, something like that. Same thing with the crew.
Right.
And after the 3rd, and so on and so forth. So that definitely plays into that. It's Lost in Space.
It's why you see a lot of rejig after the 4th seasons of things tend to be
a
bit different. All shows get cancelled after 2 because a lot of the time as well, the actors will sign on. They'll sign on initially for a 2-year contract, which is what you see a lot of the time. So sometimes it's one of the things with SGU is one of the factors for it got cancelled. There was more than that, but one of the factors was they were going to have to renegotiate all the contracts, and MGM was just like, we can't do that right now. We're not in a position to do that,
especially in their monetary.
It was the company was a mess at the time. So, but that was one of the many reasons. But
well, even though I almost said Sci-Fi Quest and Melvin all at once. Even though Lost in Space finished after season 3, Melvin brought up a good idea for a possible spinoff. Would y'all have watched that, or would you watch it if they ended up doing something like that down the road? Same qualities, similar actors, styling, I guess, etc.
I don't think it was popular enough, was it?
I don't know. It would depend on the stories, but that seems more like maybe a miniseries or made-for-TV movie than multiple season kind of thing.
I think Lost in Space should have been a miniseries. I look at the Battlestar Galactica miniseries and I think that's the sort of thing they should have done.
Yeah.
8-10 episodes, or more of like your 15-16 episode, maybe 18 episodes?
Even 3 or 4 or 5 episodes,
really?
something like that proper miniseries sort of thing would have been. But high quality, high impact sort of thing. Bish bash bosh, done.
Do them like a BBC miniseries almost, where like each episode is essentially an hour and a half.
Yeah, almost like a movie. Yeah, like almost like a trilogy of TV movies or something like that. Yeah, that'd be that. I think Lost in Space would have worked really well as that. You need that impact.
Oh yeah. Yep. I think they should do that with Stargate.
Do you want another exclusive that I've forgotten about?
Well, hold up. Let me write the timestamp down real quick. We're at 1:25.
I'm gonna have to go
about this today. And again, we're going in rumor because I might have forgotten to check my emails over the Christmas period. So I checked them today.
Legend of the Forgotten exclusive.
Yeah, sorry. So, guys, I talked about there being the potential for a Firefly reboot. And Nathan Fillion was trying to get it done. And I think
not even a potential.
Sorry?
It was not even a potential, right? It was essentially almost set in stone, but then he got cast as Green Lantern, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool.
So Green Lantern did it. So initially, it was a movie deal, and Universal were trying to do some TV movies, and they got as far as getting Disney to agree. They had a story plot with Nathan Fillion, and it was all, and they were moving towards it getting done. It was all basically agreed in principle during the strikes. Then Nathan Fillion appeared a lot less in the last season of The Rookie than he had done in previous ones. You know, they put some of the other characters forward, so it's me, but it's basically been delayed by the Green Lantern, like you said. Which did I just tell you that, or did I told everybody that?
We did it on live, I think 2 weeks ago.
Did I? Okay. So basically, yeah, the Green Lantern put it on pause. Since then, Disney have stepped in and actually gone, well, we could just do a TV series. Because actually Disney own the TV rights, and Nathan Fillion works for Disney through ABC. Nathan Fillion is going to be producing the new Rookie spin-off. I'm hearing that the Rookie is going to continue, but Nathan Fillion will continue to sort of appear less in it, and he may even leave. One of the things was that he said, look, apparently there's in a meeting during the thing, it says, this is getting a bit silly now. I'm not a rookie anymore. I've been in the LAPD like 7 years. So the show's supposed to be about rookies sort of thing. So yeah. So he's getting, so he potentially wants to do something else. ABC want to continue that relationship, and he wants to continue that. So apparently now it looks like Hulu are trying to negotiate a deal to do some sort of Firefly, but it would be a miniseries with the idea of that could it spin into something else. So Nathan Fillion is not coming back to do 7 seasons of Firefly. He's not going to. Right. It looks like he'll come back to do some sort of miniseries that could then maybe move into something else if it's popular enough or whatever. Alan Tudyk would come back still, and it would still basically be the same sort of story idea that Nathan Fillion actually presented, because no scripts or anything were done. Universal don't own Nathan Fillion's idea, so it would. I'm hearing it would pretty much be the same thing, and it would appear on Hulu.
Sounds
awesome. It very much depends on what happens with Nathan Fillion and Warner Brothers, if I'm honest.
Would they be able to get like Jewel State and what's her name back too?
I think the only one that might be a problem is Marina Baccarin.
She'd be the
Jewel
hardest
State will not be a problem. Yeah. She's not really doing anything else, if I'm honest.
She's doing something on CW, I think, or something.
Yeah, some on the CW. So yeah. I think they could get the cast back pretty easily, to be honest. Yeah. The only thing I'm thinking is like Jane. He has not aged well. But other than that, from what I understand of the storyline idea, is it starts with Nathan Fillion as Mal, who's kind of broken from the events that happened in the movies and everything else, and then he basically lost the Firefly, which we know from the character. His whole identity was based around freedom and the Firefly and whatever, and it basically is going to see him rebuilding himself over the period where we'll see we'll rebuild a crew, get the Firefly back or whatever, or get it repaired or whatever it is. But I think that's a very, very loose pitch, which was the general idea. And I think, and I know somebody said to me when I did this video before, talking about, that sounds like crap. How many times are we going to see like a broken character rebuilding himself? And I was, well, a lot, because it's one of the basic stories of, like there's not, what do they say? There's only 6 or 7 basic story fundamentals, and that's one of them. But also, it's logical from what we've seen already. It does sort of follow on that Mal could really be in that position, because it's what we've already seen. So, yeah, but we'll see. I think Disney have completely stolen Good idea. There will be a video on this Tachyon Pulse podcast when I get around to it, where I'll try to get in a bit more detail and try and find out more about what's going on.
Podcast to do. I don't really know the name, but
the Tachyon Pulse podcast. It's quite hard to say. There's a lot of P's.
TPP.
you hard time saying it.
TP. But
TPP.
yeah, TPP. I just think so we'll have to see. But it sounds like Disney is sort of like trying to hijack the project.
Yeah.
That sounds
I
like.
think a miniseries would be awesome. I like the idea.
I think a miniseries, or even like I like the trilogy movie ideas. That Universal seem to have like just sort of like put it on pause because of Nathan. But it sounds like this is very much. It's not going to happen without Nathan Fillion, and it's who can sort of like talk him into it. Joss Whedon does not own Firefly. 20th Century Fox do, but Joss Whedon does own elements of Firefly, so Joss Whedon will be involved in this project, is what I'm being told. And
the Brad
Nathan Fillion, apparently, the idea. Well, from this is going back to the Universal conversations,
right?
But apparently, Nathan Fillion saw this as sort of like a way for Joss to sort of like
come back
is his comeback thing. Is like
hopefully it's pre-2015 Joss Whedon that comes back.
Yeah. I think so. He needs to. Well, I mean, that Evers that he did, the Evers, was it? I like that show. It got, and he was, that was basically his baby, and it's a good show. And I think the Nevers, only did one season, and then like COVID hit, and we never saw it again. And Joss, all the stuff over Joss happened.
The Nevers.
Joss needs to, Joss needs to come back and do something with people that he knows that know him that can bring him back, and maybe let's say with Nathan would be the driving force behind it, and I don't think Nathan would let him maybe go too far, but Damon Walker's got a bad point there. We'll have to see.
That Whedon is a spent creative force at this point, and after Age of Ultron, I feel like always got a worse rap than it deserved.
I think it's Age of Ultron.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but it's also very cookie cutter. It's something that Joss Whedon's done 15, 20 times before, and he's tried to do it afterwards as well. It's just it wasn't out of the box for him, and Joss Whedon is somebody that can go out of the box and do it really well, and I think that kind of lost him his job from there. Obviously, I guess they had their little squabbles and stuff, and he went to DC to do the Justice League.
It was never creative with Joss. It was the accusations and the Me Too movement that killed Joss Whedon's career.
That's the biggest worry, and it's not to go jump back into the whole woke aspect of things, but if there's a creative that is very specific about forcing ideology over a story in recent years, Joss Whedon's the most public example in a lot of ways. Or at least the guy that's kind of started the charge, and which is funny because he's totally lost his career where other people have done similar things and built their career off of it. It screwed him over.
He was a bully
in a big way.
He didn't rape anyone or bloody or sexually harass anyone. He was a bully by the sounds of it. But the way Charisma Carpenter talks about him, he was vicious, or he could be vicious. James Masters talked about. Yeah, James Masters talked about having him up against a wall, threatening him. He was, but I was a lot of the stories that come over to me like he was really passionate about his project and really protective of his show, and didn't like it when things went against him, and he maybe went too far. But Nathan Fillion's got nothing but nice things to say about him. So I saw him in an interview just last year, and he said, if you did sort of the Firefly, sort of brought it back, would you work with Joss again? And he said, in an instant, heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Right, guys, I'm sorry. I'm at the hour and 35-minute mark. I've got to watch how long I do these, so I'm going to have to duck out, and I'm starting to get a bit of a headache.
Of course.
No, I got to go too, so.
Okay, well, we're ending then.
Do we want to do the quickest round of what we watched this week and just...
Yeah,
that's
good. 5 minutes.
Cool. Sarah, you want to start us?
Sarah, you can run off if you want to.
What did I watch this week? Doctor Who. I didn't really watch a lot this week. I'm behind. I'm behind on like Silo and Skeleton Crew, but I watched Die Hard. I watched what else did I watch? Oh my God.
1 and
I
2
watched
and 4.
Patrick
I watched.
Stewart Christmas Carol, which is the best one. Watched some Doctor Who. Watched Nosferatu, of course. Watched some hockey. Well, World Juniors hockey because NHL was off for a couple days. They're back playing now, but that's about it. So,
yeah. Good.
What'd you watch, Jay?
I have been watching some Christmas specials mostly. I started watching The Office, the American version of The Office, because it's quite funny. But that's my little 30-minute in the background if I'm doing something else. It's my new 30-minute show.
It's good in the later seasons, not so much, but
no, I probably won't be watching it in that much.
Parks and Rec is, I think, took over what it wanted to be in a lot of ways. Parks and Rec, I think, is the best version.
But yeah, so a couple of Christmas specials, all the Die Hards. I am up to date with Skeleton Crew. I'm still enjoying it.
Last episode.
I've had a little bit of a Marvel run. Actually, I rewatched Captain Marvel for the first time in ages and really enjoyed it. I watched Iron Man 3. I really enjoyed it. And these are the films that I considered to be weak, and I've enjoyed them more than I thought I would. I watched the first Iron Man again, so I'm having a bit of a Marvel run. I'm doing it. I'm watching them chronologically, like you with Star Trek.
Hey,
so I'm watching them chronologically.
I believe is going to start tomorrow. That's going to be the way to start
we'll see.
Last week of the year. Well, actually, because Chazz was there for Christmas, I was able to get the technician and the computer. We now have a clock to be able to watch alongside.
Cool.
We'll see if I'm very good at figuring out and pausing it and doing all that kind of stuff. But in theory, we're all set now, which is pretty cool.
Good.
I watched Lord of the Rings too.
Also a Christmas movie.
I need to watch Rings of Power season 2. I've got to bring myself to do it.
It's better than the first one. I think you'll like it. You won't think it's like the most wonderful thing ever, but it's better than the first season. For sure.
Okay, maybe I'll go get some food and do that tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me, I guess I need to go see Nosferatu today. I saw Complete Unknown and really enjoyed it. It does scatter story-wise a little bit, but also there's 4 years it's covering, and I really do appreciate it. It's just 1961 to 1965 Bob Dylan. It's not pushing 20, 30 years down the line. You're not aging up Timothy Chalamet to look like he's 45. You know, it's the time period that Timmy is Timmy, which is good, but he turns into Bob for the role, which is nice to see. James Mangold did Johnny Cash really well again too, which was really fun. But anyway, that was good. Saw half of Sonic 3 to see that. Caught up with Creature Commandos and Skeleton Crew for the week. And I don't know if y'all have watched it or not yet, or if y'all watched those first 2 seasons. I've only watched, I think, the first episode so far. But what if season 3 for Marvel did come out this week? And
I gotta watch that.
I didn't like the first season, so I never bothered.
The first episode I didn't like, but I really liked everything else.
I liked it.
Give it another go.
Did you like season 2, Sarah?
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
I gotta watch it.
Is the Shang-Chi sequel been officially cancelled? Somebody just mentioned that it's tragic there's not going to be a Shang-Chi sequel. Is that official?
Peter, was it? I don't know. I didn't see it anywhere. Hopefully not.
I'll have to Google it.
I thought it was okay. I didn't love it. But
I like Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And Simu Lu's great.
Have to see. Right, guys, I'm really sorry. I've got to go.
I gotta go too. We gotta go right.
Yeah. Well, I guess nice end of the year. Gotta be happy New Year. We'll see y'all on Tuesday. We will see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Ended on that note. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Adios.